We did have a launch function some time back. Sadly, he couldn't be there, which is why today is very important. And we did launch our Pro Kabaddi logo. It's up there, and perhaps behind us is the whole concept of Kabaddi, as it were, which comes from, as people may or may not know, mythologically, the Mahabharata. And you had to battle through 7 concentric circles of warriors, or 7 levels of warriors, or however else you might want to interpret that. And that is one of many bases of Kabaddi being a 7 against 1 contest. Now, the truth is, we're talking about Kabaddi, but I'm trying desperately to shorten this by saying that we're all very proud of associating ourselves with our own national game. Our agenda is very simple, that if we in India I may have used them before, so I beg your pardon, but for instance, I mean, everybody keeps talking about America, right? America, the holy grail of so many things in the world. They have what they call American football, which is their go-to national, proud national contact sport. And no American worth his bacon or whatever else you might want to say will disrespect what American football is. It's how many other countries play, or they have no negative aspect or emotion connected to what they feel is their own sport. If you go down to, say, Australia, which is the #1 sporting nation in the world, based on their not just sporting prowess, but their love for the world of sport. The country 10 years later comes back with a patent on Kabaddi for taking our franchise. We will announce which later, and he will speak a little later as well. But as I talk about the sport, I know pictures, it's an old cliche, always speak, 1,000 times louder than words. And what we will do is actually right behind us. So we'll probably just move aside a bit and let the rest of you enjoy it, if you don't mind. Just a sort of little. We have a very short film that I'm grateful to my friend Piyush Pandey, O&M, who's a very old friend of mine since I was that high. We're very close friends, who said that, okay,
Grandmaster.
Pictures that we'd like to show you, but of course, Devraj is here. And now, of course, a very close friend of mine. He's been involved with the game for quite a while, and is a very hard-working person, which I deeply appreciate. DC, we just want a couple of things from you. One, of course, about Rajasthan, and we'll get that from you, because he lives in Jaipur, and that's the big buzzword today. It's all about Jaipur. And Jai, of course, we know what it means. So, DC, 1. And 2, of course, a lot of people here may be a little unaware that when we talk about Kabaddi, we mean only international Kabaddi. However, there is another, is it, and where is it, and how is it, and what, the whys and the wherefores. And just very briefly, though, if you could explain the essential difference between the two, and the legitimacy of what we're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a very quick word from Devraj Chaturvedi, who is our, like I said, Joint Secretary of the Amateur Kabaddi Federation of India and the CEO of the International Kabaddi Federation. Devraj, thank you.
Is available. Not even 10 cases of doping are being reported for Kabaddi.
In case you find photographs in the future, and I do hope you will help us photographically as well. That's not Kabaddi, that's Circle Kabaddi. Before we have so many things to do, of course, to listen to Abhishek as well. What we can do is, with your permission, take franchisee permission, it's very important, is go back very quickly and have I think a minute and a half, if you will indulge me, and maybe we don't need to get up, so do sit, unless you wish to. Yes, on March 14th, we launched we had a media launch for Pro Kabaddi, and we put it's sort of a trailer together. In case some of you are not there, or if most of you are not there, it's probably well worth looking at. So here's 90 seconds of a reminder of our official launch, which might put a few things in perspective. So if you've got a launch video, please. All about action and non-stop action at that. These guys are super athletes. Nothing less. There's a weight limit of 80 kilos, by the way. So even though they might be big and strong, but they're all extremely athleticism at its very peak. Let's move on now to setting in about 30 seconds or so the stage. Let's transport ourselves. Abhishek Bachchan awaits us all.
Thank you, Shah Rukh. Good evening, everyone, members of the media. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, for being here. It's a matter of huge pride for me to sit on this dais today, and all due thanks to the gentleman on my left, Charu, who, over a year ago, came and met me and pitched Pro Kabaddi to me. You know, when he first showed me the video that we just saw about how Kabaddi is played today, it overwhelmed me. I was taken aback by what all we just take for granted. Bachpan mein hum sab ne kabaddi khela hai. My first memories of kabaddi, I think I remember, were watching, obviously I'm a film child, so was watching a film of my father's called Ganga Ki Saugand. I don't know if you all have seen it, but he plays kabaddi in that. And unfortunately, the rules state that we have to say kabaddi, 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 kabaddi. Otherwise, I would have made him say the line that my father says, ki tera mooch lal, lal, lal. And hopefully, we'll try and see if we can get the Jaipur team to say those words. But kabaddi is something that, you know, I think every parent teaches their kid to play. It's such a cheap sport if you think about it. In cricket, you need a lot of paraphernalia. Even in football, which is still very cheap, you need a ball. In kabaddi, you don't need anything. You just need to draw a court in the ground, and that's it. You go out there and you play. And the amount of skill required is immense. And I think it was, over a year ago that Charu came and spoke to me about this and said that they were very excited about putting this together. Immense thanks to Star for coming on board. Star gives us a wonderful platform to showcase this brilliant sport. Charu has spoken beautifully about, you know, the heritage and the history of kabaddi. And he's educated me a lot about it over the past year. And like he said, it is the only indigenous Indian sport that we have. We're a cricket-loving nation. We all love cricket. So do I. But it's a British sport. Hockey is a British sport. As far as I know, kabaddi is the only Indian sport that is still played. And here we have an opportunity to magnify that and bring it and serve it on a platform which it does not have currently. And he appealed to the patriot in me when he first spoke to me, and he obviously made a huge impression. To take a sport that is ours, that we should be proud of. Sportsmen that don't have the facilities that some of the more accomplished and more established sports in India already have. And to give them the opportunity to compete with the infrastructure that Charu and his team plan to put out, I think is a proposal which very few or very insensitive people will say no to. One of the clinching factors was when he spoke to me, he said, look, we'll have about 100 players in the entire tournament, of which 70 odd will be Indian. We'll have to give we have to give some of the foreigners a chance, which I thought was fantastic. Because, you know, if you think about cricket, you see, for example, in the IPL, they have that you can only have 5 foreign players. In any other sport, there's a quota that you have to have. You know, you can only take so many. Don't overwhelm. We want to promote Indian talent. What I liked over here was his confidence that let's give the foreigners a chance as well. Nahi to bhaiya unko chance milne wala nahi hai. And not many people know, India has won the championship 6 years in a row, 6 times, 6 Asian Games in a row. We're the undisputed champions of kabaddi in the world. And you will be shocked where all this sport is played. From the Netherlands to England to Canada to Korea, Afghanistan, Pakistan. These are countries we don't associate with kabaddi. You would think predominantly the Indian subcontinent, but it is played around the world. And keeping all this in mind, India is still the best country at it, undisputed. And this is without them getting the exposure and the level of infrastructure that we can provide to them. This is basically raw talent. Now imagine if that talent is met with a lot of corporate backing, is met with a definite infrastructure, and met once they have an organized league like what we propose in Pro Kabaddi. The horizon is not very far. And it's a movement. I don't like to call it the league. It's a movement. It's a revolution in kabaddi that I like to call it, which Charu has started. And I really feel we can make a huge difference. Obviously, sitting here, we're going to need you all. You know, we need you all to support us. This is, like I said, an Indian sport. I have been a sportsman in my school days, in college days. I'm a huge sports enthusiast, whatever sport it is. Here's a sport that's ours, that we should have huge amount of pride in. So, you know, we really need to get behind it. And that was one of the main reasons why when Shah Rukh came to me and spoke to me, one of my deciding factors was that it is our sport. It is something we have to be proud about. And it's something we need to do something about. You know, I would hate it, like Charu said earlier on when he was talking, that, you know, 10 saal baad, a foreigner will come and say, let's do something with Kabaddi. But this is our sport. This is something that we should be proud of. And this is something we as Indians should do. So this is our endeavor to try and do this. We have a wonderful team that has been set up. They're great franchisee owners that have come on board, which Charu has very diligently and rigorously, with a magnifying glass, handpicked. And we hope to be able to make a difference. I appeal to you, the media, that we need your support in whichever way. And it's very exciting for me to, I'm a film actor, and it's very exciting for me as a wannabe sportsman to be associated with India's own sport. And hopefully we can make a huge difference and entertain you all as well, because it's immensely exciting to see this sport. You all have to, I mean, now Mumbai has a team as well, which Ronnie owns, and their home stadium is the NSCI. And, you know, we'd be more than glad to invite all of you all to our Mumbai matches. I'd love to invite you all to the Jaipur matches as well. Come see, it's a lot of fun. And let's support these guys. Let's, you know, get behind the sport and let's take it to the level. And like everybody you saw on the AV said, this can and has the potential of being the next big sport in this country. And give it time, and it can be as big, if not bigger, than cricket. Another fact which really was something that really jumped up at me was when I spoke to you, sir, last, and percentage-wise, if you take all the cricket matches that, you know, all the three different forms that are played, which is Test, 50 overs and T20, Kabaddi in percentages and proportionately sells out a lot more than even cricket does in this country. You go to any Kabaddi match, granted the stadiums are a lot smaller, but like Charu said, they're sold out. This is a sport which is immensely popular with the masses of India and in rural India. And I think it has huge potential. And once it's brought onto this format, and once we get to showcase this sport to the entire world, I really think the feedback and the response is going to be huge. So, Charu, it's thank you for having me on board. And like I keep saying, it's a matter of huge pride for me to get behind this, back the Jaipur team, and to back India's only indigenous sport. So thank you all for being here, and I'll hand it over to Charu.
Well, thanks so much. You know, do keep that microphone. Sounds better, that one. But gosh, there's so many thoughts I'd love to share with you. But one thing that if I may be allowed to share with you before we move on, is that can I please beg your assistance in not buttonholing the sport as a sport that's played by them and not by us. It is our sport. It's not a them versus us. And yes, you could argue that it's played more in towns that are non-metropolises, but it's, yeah, but that's only a fallacy, because the truth is that it's also played with equal vigor and it's equally popular in all the biggest cities of India as well. And I will mention only one fact, which I hope will startle all of you in case you weren't there for our last media get-together, that if there is an El Dorado, if there's a city of gold, if there's, you know, the biggest commercial capital in our country, it is this wonderful city of Mumbai. And you might say Mumbai, with all its slickness and sophistication, Kabaddi, no. But how much of a misconception is that? How much of a prejudice is that? Let me explain, or let me try and break this perception wall. Amongst all the cities in India, all, the largest number of Kabaddi clubs in one city is in your magnificent city of Mumbai. This is not a village. This is not rural India. It is the heart of urban India. This is elite India. And the largest number of clubs in any one city are in Mumbai. And how many clubs you would say? 30? Some might say, no, it could be 75. That's a lot of clubs in one city from Colaba to Chembur or wherever, you know, the suburbs. Some might say, let me take another guess. 150? So I'm going to stop it right here and say no. 400 Kabaddi clubs. So needed. So we have Mashal Sports that has taken on. I don't know how this works because you know times are short. So.
एक सवाल है थोड़ा सा हटके यहाँ इस प्रो कबड्डी से कल जया जी का बर्थडे था आपने किस तरह मनाया ये मैं जरूर जानना चाहती हूँ
जी माँ का जन्मदिन था उनके साथ बिताया special to she's very special to all of us. That's the most special thing. Spent the day with her. She wouldn't want anything else. The whole family thankfully is in town, so we spent the day with her. Dad unfortunately wasn't here because he was in Dubai, but that's it.
All right, well, you know, thanks. Yeah, we are all